Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of July 15th. And that's right. You can tell that we are in the midst of a Mercury slowdown this week. Mercury is stationing retrograde, which is going to slow a lot of the communication, transportation, bring issues into technology, and is overall going to be sort of muddying and clouding over communication this week. We also have the sun in a square to Chiron, the wounded healer, going to be accessing some of these places within us that is going to be covering some of our ego wounds and our insecurities, and even some of our physical wounds could be highlighted with that square. And Mars in a conjunction with the South Node, and then also Venus in a T-square with the same nodes. And so a very fateful week in regards to those two aspects. That puts Mars and Venus, the cosmic lovers, also in a square this week. So lots of action, lots of meat to cut through here. And so we'll get right into it right now. On the day that I give this report, July 15th, we have the moon in Pisces for the beginning of the day. Pisces is a mood and a vibe that is about closure and is about our intuition and is about spirituality and the collective unconscious. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, so we can tend to see an amalgamation of the whole last months, the whole last cycle until that moon hits the first degrees of the next sign. Pisces is sort of bringing everything in that's happened, because Pisces is all of the other signs added in. And so it really encompasses everything. This is a very fateful morning because this moon in Pisces is conjunct with the North Node. The North Node is living in Pisces right now. So the North Node represents areas of our life that are trying to come in. The North Node is like our destiny moving into the future. So we are going to be vibing with our future fated destiny here as the moon is conjunct, going directly over the top this point in the chart. Also, the South Node, as I mentioned, is basically in a conjunction already with the planet of Mars. And Mars is our physical body and is our warrior spirit. And this moon and the North Node are going to be in opposition. They're going to be directly across from the Mars and the South Node thing. I'm going to talk about the Mars and the South Node thing when we get to it on July 20th. But what we need to know is that Mars and the South Node is trying to take things sort of abruptly and violently, removing things physically from our lives. And so on this day, the beginning day of this report week, July 15th, we're feeling some decision that's being made, some action, some culmination point within this fated, quite abrupt, permanent removal of something physical from our lives. And then the moon moves into Aries on the evening of the 15th, moving out of Pisces, out of all of that other stuff that we already did during the day. The moon moves very quickly. So that is just all of that Mars, North Node, South Node stuff is for the beginning parts to the middle parts of the day on Tuesday. By the time the moon moves to Aries, we're ready for newness. We're ready for some more instinctual activity. Aries is ruled by that planet of Mars, actually, and is more about taking action and getting things done and taking first steps to getting some new thing taken care of. And then on July 16th, that moon in Aries is going to be in the very early morning hours, coming into a conjunction with Saturn and Neptune at those beginning degrees of Aries, which both of these planets have stationed retrograde. Saturn just did this last week, just a few days ago. So Saturn is sitting very, very still right now in the sky. This is a time when we feel the planet's energy very, very strongly. And it's a very potent energy. Saturn is the planet of responsibilities and is the energy around boundaries, restrictions, rules, and structure. Neptune is our hopes, dreams, and desires. And also, this is where a lot of our spirituality, intuition, and those unconscious, that Pisces unconscious collective that we can go to in our minds when we dissolve out all of the details. So the moon is making a conjunction with this overnight on the early morning hours of the 16th for us here on the Pacific West Coast, where I give my report from. But there's going to be some type of backward movement where we wake up in the morning and realize that there's been some activity there with those retrograde planets. Retrograde activities include anything that begin with the letters RE. You go back and review, reassess, restructure, reignite. Anything that you need to go back and edit is taken care of during a retrograde process. So that is what these planets and what a lot of this Aries, Pisces, this cusp area of the 0 degree point of Aries moving back into Pisces, this area is going to be under review and under these edits for many months to come, as Saturn and Neptune are going to do this retrograde here. In the evening on July 16th, we have the lunar illuminary, the moon, coming through and making a sextile with Venus. And during a week where we are seeing a lot of intensity with Saturn stationed, and also the week is just filled with conjunctions and squares and sort of challenging aspects. There's a lot of activity with the lunar nodes, which provide cosmic course corrections, and the nodes themselves are keeping our greatest and highest good in mind. So any activity that takes place on these fated days, creating these long-term effects on the future, we must keep in mind and have trust that is absolutely directed towards the most benevolent outcome for us and for our situations, even if it might not feel like it. So I'm trying to say this week has a little bit of heaviness. It has some work to it. It has going to have some sort of surprising moments. And the Wednesday evening here, when the moon is in a sextile with Venus, is a bit of a sweet spot of the week. Venus brings in pleasure. We get to actually access pleasurable things and feel good. This is where we listen to smooth music. We wear soft clothing. Venus wants relationships to be harmonious and balanced. And this Wednesday evening of this week is a really nice spot for relationships. This same Venus later this week on the 21st is going to be in a T-square with the nodes. And there is going to be a lot of faded and quite abrupt and forceful relationship activity also, where there's going to be permanent changes in relationships one way or another. So early in the week on this Wednesday evening, we want to relish in this nice, pleasurable evening that we get. In the morning on July 17th, more lunar activity. We have a square. We have two squares and an inconjunct. This is going to provide an opportunity for us to adjust to our situations. The inconjunct wants us to adjust and kind of become comfortable again. And so Thursday morning and this whole day is really an adjustment day, because it's the same day Mercury stations retrograde. 444 444 444, popping out all my clocks here. This is Stacy Dread, Galactic Ambassador in the Cosmic Community. I just want to take a second to say that I was a practitioner this last Sunday, 2 days ago, at the Cosmic Depot's Sunday on the Green. Sunday on the Green is organized by a local astrologer, guru, legend, Eileen Locke. She puts together every Sunday on the Green from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Cosmic Depot during the summers, starting 2 weeks ago. You can come and get free readings from different energy workers, clairvoyant practitioners, and astrologers. There's some massage therapy. There's people who pull cards, and it's different every week in terms of the practitioners. All you have to do is bring some type of canned food or packaged food that is appropriate to give to Neighbor Impact, because the whole event, Sunday on the Green, is actually to get food for Neighbor Impact. So that's happening again this Sunday, and I do believe that I will be back there again. So I had such a good time. It was my very first week doing astrology readings there in front of the Cosmic Depot, and it went by so fast, and I'm excited to do another Sunday. I will not be there next Sunday, so if you want to come down and get a free astrology reading from me and other practitioners offering up what they have, bring down some food for Neighbor Impact and party with us from 10 a.m. to 2 at the Cosmic Depot on the Green. So this Mercury retrograde coming in strong at this time. Saturn has already, as I mentioned, stationed retrograde last week. We have other planets in retrograde too. So what this means is that we are reaching a period of time where things are going to slow down quite a bit. Mercury rules over our mind, our communication, technology, transportation, our movements from here to there, and also the movements of thoughts and communications and messages from here to there. So emails, text messages, any kind of, communications that you're waiting for and trying to make happen, they're just going to take longer right now. Trips from here to there, and anything that involves technology, communication, and transportation is going to slow down quite a bit. And there could even be some glitching out in terms of that. So Thursday, the 17th, give yourself plenty of time, and really this whole week and over the next few weeks, because this retrograde is going to be the longest one of the year. This year 2025 holds 3 Mercury retrogrades. Mercury usually retrogrades 3 to 4 times a year. And the last one was from March 15th to April 7th, 2025. This one is from July 18th to August 11th, 2025, which is 24 days. And then the third Mercury retrograde in 2025 is November 9th to November 29th. And that's only a 19-day retrograde. So 24 days this time around is going to be long. It's going to take a while, and it's in the sign of Leo. So if you want to see where this Mercury retrograde is going to be affecting you the most, you look at your birth chart. Your astrology birth chart shows where all the planets were at the moment of your birth, and it shows, it's like a blueprint on your life and how the current astrology is going to affect you. You can go to that and look at the degrees between 15 degrees and 4 degrees of Leo. And this is going to be the area of your life, depending on which house that lines up with or which houses, then that's the work that you're going to be doing here. So July 18th to August 11th, and in the sign of Leo, very interesting, because if you remember, the last Mars retrograde we had was in Leo too. So there is something that we're going back to the Mars retrograde here. There are more lessons that need to be learned, more edits that need to be made to this exact area of our life. And that overlap point is between 4 and 6 degrees of Leo. So if you're really interested, that's the extra credit degrees, where the really juicy work is going to be done. So people with a lot of Leo energy, planets points in Leo, going to be feeling this strongly, with planets points between 15 and 4 degrees of any sign is going to be feeling this Mercury retrograde. So take your time, slow things down. Saturn retrograde, Pluto retrograde, Neptune, now Mercury. So things are begging us to slow down and take our time a little bit. Go back, look at some things in the past, make some changes, because ultimately, when everything starts moving forward again, we want the cogs and things to be lined up in the correct places for most efficient, most benevolent outcome. On the morning of July 18th, the moon moves into Taurus. Taurus is a nice grounding energy. I think that this is going to be a good place to land after some unstable things taking place maybe on the 17th. And Taurus is like all 4 feet to the ground, and we're going. Mercury retrograde then sextiles with Venus on the evening or the afternoon of July 18th. And this is the beginning. This is the beginning of phase 2 of our Mercury retrograde story. We've already been moving through the shadow for a couple weeks, and now Mercury's first aspect that is made is with Venus. Venus in a tough place as she builds up to this T-square with the nodes. So fate coming into play very strongly as the weekend starts to come on. On the 19th, the sun squares with Chiron. This one is going to be, it's going to open up some wounds. It's going to show us places in our ego. The sun represents our personal identity. So whenever we have the sun aspecting with anything in the chart, it's a removal of certain parts of identity and a building and a challenging to our ego in ways. So the Chiron is all about wounds. This is our wounds that we have come into this life with, our immortal wounds. These can come in as physical wounds. These could be, spiritual wounds. Anywhere that we feel super raw on Saturday could feel as though some salt has been thrown into that wound. But this is an area where we go, oh my gosh, I didn't know until I jumped into the ocean, into all that salt water, that I had so many open wounds still, So it's really an opportunity to have brilliant sunlight be shown into these areas so that we can know where to move, so that we can work through this and move forward, most efficiently into the future after doing this work. The moon moves into Gemini on July 20th and comes into a conjunction with Uranus, who has just recently entered Gemini. Uranus is the planet of surprise and awakening and of the lightning striking. So on Sunday, we could feel surprised. There could be something that is unexpected that comes in. Uranus, hey, it's that type of energy. It wants to do an instant awaken. It shows you the light, just like a lightning strike. When the lightning is flashing, everything is super brilliant and bright. You can see everything. And so you get those flashes, those moments of brilliance, those moments of bright light. And it's transformative because the moon is in a trine with Pluto in this morning time on Sunday. So whatever awakening that occurs, it's all tied into this larger transformation that is at play in Pluto's early degrees of Aquarius. Aquarius houses Pluto at the moment, showing us places that we need to awaken and transform. This day on Sunday is the same day that Mars is conjunct with the South Node. This is in Virgo, So Virgo is all about our health, our work routine, the service that we give to the world, our daily routine and our daily health routine. There could be fate and destiny coming into play on Sunday in terms of some type of physical Mars. Mars is physical. This is our physical body. Something physical being leaving our life. South node. South node are the things we are walking away from. North node, our future. South node, our past. So there is something that we are sparking, releasing, and moving forward from, purging, purifying, and cleansing ourselves from on the evening of Sunday, the 20th of July. And then this moon conjuncts with Venus the next day, July 21st. And this is the same place where I was mentioning the cosmic lovers are in a square. Mars and Venus are the cosmic lovers. It's the masculine and the feminine energy of the astrological energies of the chart here. So they are very much tied into relationship activity. So a square is tough. It's challenging. There are challenges coming in on Monday for relationships as Venus moves into a T-square with the nodes and the moon is conjunct there. This is really just an opportunity to see where we need to turn a corner in relationships and to share in conflict in order to progress into the future, because without conflict, it's kind of hard to see where the work needs to be done. And there's always work that needs to be done, and it doesn't need to be heavy, and it doesn't need to be unkind. We don't need to be unkind to each other about it or mean about it or anything, because we're all here on each other's same team on this earth together anyways. So we're all ultimately rooting for each other. In the end, it's the most benevolent outcome for all. And so keep that in mind, that that's what the astrology wants to lead us to, wants to help us work with the energies that are here and available to us. You know, we get these opportunities in the astrology where the energies are really hot and they're supporting us. And so we move into these areas so that we can be most supported by the energies here. Well, I just really appreciate you being tuned in here to the Cosmic Community Astrology with the Galactic Ambassador, Stacy Dredd. I appreciate you hearing me out and would love to see a couple more faces over at the Sunday on the Green this Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Christie's, the Cosmic Depot. And all you have to do is bring some canned food for Neighbor Impact, and you can literally get 4 hours of straight practitioner support in terms of all the folks who are showing up there to share their gifts. So it would be great to see y'all and have an awesome week no matter what. And I will be chatting with you again soon. Take care. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.